So
black is my soul? Are you pointing at me and my soul?
White Walker's ridiculous. Let me get on my dragon.
welcome to this episode of Scale as Needed.
Goddamn right.
You guys,
I like what you did.
back.
Hey!
He
Hey,
was
everybody.
gone, and
Did
last
the episode
week,
suck? I did not listen.
Last week never happened. We're just going to go with it. It does not exist. It has been...
To ease the transition back, I have decided to let my hair down because Chase has long hair, and that way it's just, you know, don't want any cracks in the seam. You understand what I'm saying?
I have no idea
I don't know
what you're saying.
It's amazing how this episode is already starting out like last week's episode.
That's right.
Kyle's not the magic.
It's like Armin doesn't know how to get through a full intro without me interrupting him 6 times.
Correct.
And so it exposed the fact that you were not prepared for last week's episode. I'm just guessing.
Here's
Again,
what
I'm not a fan of the show, so I don't
I'll tell
listen.
you exactly what I'm not prepared for. I am not prepared ever at any moment in time to literally be sitting across from someone who looks so much like Jesus.
So much like Jesus.
It is really challenging for me to deal with this every fucking week, and you look more and more like Jesus every time.
I'm trying.
With the Game of Thrones.
Jesus was a big fan of Warby Parker.
The print made of Jesus' body, what is it?
The
Shroud of Turin.
Shroud of Turin. There, you can see the outline of those
did it.
hipster glasses.
All right, Dakota, that was a Shroud of Turin high five.
Are
if
you
want
going
to work on that?
Are you gonna be Jesus for Halloween? Is
That
that the end
I've
game
never
of this?
done that, but I could do that this year. What I like about that is
Alright.
I would have to do very little.
Now,
Because
let's
whatever
see
of
what we
Halloween
must
costume
talk
I
about.
come up
What
with,
must
it
we
has
talk
to
about?
accommodate
The Game
beard,
of Thrones.
has to accommodate glasses. It would be a bespectacled Jesus and my long hair because I'm not gonna go.
You could walk around. You could be hipster Jesus. You could
There
have
you
like
go.
a little thing of bulletproof coffee. You could have like your.
If you Google hipster Jesus Halloween costume, I wonder how many shitty Instagram posts will come up.
That's
And
a great point.
They are fucking legion, for they are many.
I mean, I imagine
right
like
there.
Hang on.
we
I
actually do
found
have
Kyle.
hipster Jesus.
Oh,
Dude.
yeah.
Hey,
That's pretty much
that's pretty much the look.
That's pretty
We
good.
found Kyle.
That's pretty much the look.
Actually, that's frighteningly almost like you. The guy even just the picture we have up on screen for folks just listening is basically a high quality painting of Kyle that he should now make his profile picture.
It's the kind of painting that you would find on like a ceramic plate at your grandmother's house with photoshopped glasses. And now all of you have that image
The
in your
thing
head.
is, though, hipster Jesus, I feel like that hipster Jesus, that's like hipster generation 1. We're currently in hipster generation 2, at
Yes.
least. And
Yes.
hipster generation 2 is like neck tattoos,
Yes.
eyebrow tattoos,
Yes.
lots of Xanax,
Yes.
just mistakes being made constantly.
Subdermal implants.
Like hipster with SoundCloud rapper.
It's all the same shit
all
to
the
me.
No. See, SoundCloud rappers are their own thing. Hipsters listen to SoundCloud rappers to feel like they have some sort of cred.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Their face tattoos are probably fake, unlike the Xanax rappers who have a less than 5.
I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of I'm seeing a lot of subdermal implants. I'm seeing a lot of tongue splitting. A lot of tongue splitting going on.
Really?
Yes, I've seen several people.
I think you're
in-
spending time in
Kyle's-
very odd circles.
Yeah, Kyle.
I
likes
was
to hang out
attracted
in
to a very
weird
particular
sex
type of
dungeons.
woman for many years, and I've acquired an interesting cachet of Facebook friends as a result. So
I mean, I remember tongue splitting being a thing that they would do on like Dateline. Is your child splitting his tongue at 10 p.m. tonight? Find out later.
And the answer is very often yes,
Yes.
especially in the Austin area.
Apparently so.
So.
My favorite thing in high school, though, was like when someone would get their tongue pierced, and then for the next they talk like this. and you just be like, wow, like that cool looking surfer dude who I've always like kind of looked up to and thought, man, that's a really cool dude. All of a sudden, he's not cool anymore.
Yeah,
he has a swollen tongue.
My brother pierced his tongue in college. I don't know, drunken decision maybe.
Was he listening to Jack Johnson while he was doing it?
Probably. I don't know. I don't know. Well, he pierced his tongue during college, and my mom saw him one day. He was leaving the house, and he was like, "All right, see you later, Mom." My mom was like, "Hold on, what is that in your mouth?" He's like, "Nothing." And she was like, "Show me your tongue." And he puts out his tongue, and right fucking there, she just grabs it and removes it from his tongue.
What, did she take the backing off?
Yeah, she was like, just give me that, like, pow, like, right out.
That's good.
So
when she asked him why, did he give a different answer than the Pulp Fiction answer? I would hope.
No. He went
remember,
straight for giving Mom a heart attack.
What is hilarious is that you look at 1994 when Pulp Fiction came out, the idea of a tongue piercing was something so far out there that it was a subject of interest worthy to discuss. In this film where they're talking about, the names of McDonald's in Amsterdam or all these different things, it was a subject worth discussing. This idea of piercing your tongue was so far out there. No one had ever met anyone with a pierced tongue, and they introduced this character of whatever her name is, Jodie, who has like a pierced eyebrow and a pierced lip, and that was far out enough to be a whole character type in a movie. And now it's so commonplace. It was commonplace by the time I was in high school.
Right. Cut to 2002. My brother is going to UCLA, and he has his tongue pierced. I don't know, just some Armenian kid from the mean streets of Glendale.
Yeah.
Either way, fuck it. We're talking fitness before Chase gets here.
Yes.
Did you guys see that Sam Briggs broke her elbow?
I did see that, yes.
That
lame
is that's an understatement. Lame is correct. So she broke her elbow and tore ligament and got it surgically repaired, but got it surgically repaired after completing all of the age group online qualifier workouts and probably qualifying for the CrossFit Games as a master. I texted her. I was like, Sam, what the fuck? Like, what happened? Are you okay? And she was like, I was like, obviously surprised, not planning on breaking her elbow ever. But she said basically now the next 10 weeks pretty much just looks like rehabbing her elbow as best as she can so that she's relatively healthy come games time.
So she's going to compete as a master.
Yeah, 100, that's the only thing she can do at this point. There's no way. Regionals is
and there's
only
no
about
regional
5 weeks
competition
away.
for masters at all.
No, that was the regional competition. It's the age group online qualifier.
Okay, interesting. So this has derailed her season as an individual, hoping to return, but she is planning on just phoning it in.
We should find out who is the person, who is the former female champion in that weight and that age category of masters who just went, shit.
Well, I mean, listen, a broken elbowed Sam Briggs, for anybody else,
still fitter than anyone else on the planet.
For anybody else, a broken elbow would be like, I don't know if you're going to make it. For Sam, it's like, you might not win by 200 points.
Well, did you see, you've seen her biceps and all that stuff. Those muscles can hold the joint together all on their own.
Yeah,
I mean, keep everything tensed all the time.
She broke her elbow and did a workout, at least a workout that had heavy thrusters, well, heavy for women, I guess. I don't know. Heavy thrusters and rope climbs in it. And I don't know about you guys, but even if I get like a sore fucking elbow, I'm like, ooh, I'm taking a week off.
Yeah. If I get even a little bit hungry, I just don't work out for a month.
Plan's canceled.
Yes.
Everything gets thrown off kilter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sam Briggs, I know speaking for all of us except for Daniel, who I don't know is familiar with Sam at all in any way, shape, but yes, we're all fans. We're all fans. So Sam, hopefully she recovers well enough to be good at the games.
Because she's been at the games every year except for the couple years she was injured, like right up till this past year. Yeah, she was at the games last year.
Yeah, so so the past 3 years she went 4th, 4th, 6th, I think. So
impressive finishes.
yeah, she's doing okay. I think she's doing okay, and she missed qualifying in 14.
Just to make a point, she should strap one of the injured arm to her body in a sling and still go and win the Masters division at the CrossFit Games, which I don't think is actually outside the realm of possibility. If you're a 4th place finisher at the games who then transitions into a Masters category for old people, could you, because she's not just a games qualified athlete, she's a top level, top
She's
finisher.
one of the best.
She's one of the best in the world.
She still wins events.
So where would she be tripped up? Because I'm wondering, like, you know, across like Masters games events, you know, I mean, double unders might be a problem if she had one arm literally tied behind her back.
Correct.
So maybe she could
So
take
would
it out
rope
for that.
climbs.
Rope climbs are an issue. I don't know. She might be able to make it up that. She might be able to make it up that rope.
Keep
I guess-
biceps tensed and that elbow holds together.
The
It's
real
fine.
question is, what is the handicap that Sam Briggs would need in order to not win? Like, she'd have to lose half of her body in a
Yes.
freak barbell accident, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't break my elbow. I just separated my torso from my legs.
But individually, though, each one of her 2 halves would go on to win teen divisions at the games. So,
Yeah.
No, actually, no. That's actually the ultimate plan. Is like, you know, bisect her, and then she's her own team.
That's right. That's a good move.
yeah.
That's a good move. She'd
Well,
do
her top half would win the teen division, and then her bottom half would just keep walking into a wall over and over again.
Just a bleeding, like just blood squirting out of the top half of her legs.
but it's one of
running
those, like-
across the background of the
But
shots.
it's not a clean like bisection. It's like one of those like
Mortal
cartoonish
Kombat
ones.
style.
Of course.
Where there's like a little bit of spine poking out.
Or there's a full spine with 2 eyeballs.
What we realize
Two googly eyes.
is Sam Briggs' lower half is actually the thing. It just comes up. It has its
Oh,
own
yeah.
skull and like spider arms. And like, oh fuck!
So Sam Briggs, like a starfish,
That's-
when you cut her in half, it just makes another
heals
Sam
into
Briggs.
Yes.
2 whole Sam Briggs. It's a little bit of scar tissue-y on the cut half side, but 2 whole Sam Briggs.
Nothing a Rosti won't fix.
Yeah.
You hear that, Dakota? Starfish Sam Briggs.
See, now that we ask for it, it will never come.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Sam heals up and goes on to do well at the games. We could see. I was hoping to see her compete yet again as an individual, but I don't know if she really has anything else to prove.
Yeah.
On the other side of things, of people who are like injured and just never going to make it back to the games, I hate to say it, but I just don't think Dan Bailey is going to make it back to the games as an individual.
Well,
like
after that, well, we kind of discussed that last time I was here. But
Yeah.
yeah, after with an injury like that, like a full quadricep rupture, that's just hard to
Yeah.
recover from. So,
I mean, Bridges had
Yeah.
a shock, like a devastating knee injury, but the context within which that knee injury happened was totally different. He was younger than Dan Bailey is right now by maybe 6 or 7 years,
yeah.
and maybe not that much, but like 5 or 6 years. And the games were easier to qualify for at that point.
Yeah.
So between those 2 things, I think Josh Bridges timed his catastrophic knee injury at the right moment,
Yeah.
as opposed to Dan Bailey, who has not timed his catastrophic knee injury at the right moment.
What were your factors, Kyle, when you were timing your catastrophic knee injury?
A lot of I really wanted to work on getting as fat as possible before the game season, and I succeeded by laying on a couch and eating P. Terry's all day and drinking a lot of beer. So it was good. Man,
Nice.
drinking is fun. I
Yeah.
remember drinking.
That makes the things like that tolerable.
Yeah.
I should start that again.
Yeah.
That time.
But with regard to fitness, as all of these people in the start to kind of your Sam Briggses and stuff start aging into the Masters category, and it becomes more normal for us to see former games athletes competing, or even high-level games athletes competing in the Masters division, and then we see, obviously fitter and fitter pools of people in the regular category. It'll be interesting to see that could like redefine how we look at the Masters category as not a bunch of broken down old people who are, like, oh, they're doing their best. But instead, like, if it's, you got your Chris Spielers and your Sam Briggses and all of that, it could be like a legit Masters division where you actually get to see all the famous names that you liked throwing down against each other, like CrossFit Classic,
Oh, yeah.
where, that's actually the best thing that they need to do. once all these like 07, 08 athletes, you know, make it into the Masters division, they need to start doing like throwback events and throwback things, and like everyone needs to do handstand push-ups, but with their legs bent against the wall, and all sorts of crazy stuff
So
like back
they
from
actually
that day.
take away rules or go back to old rule sets as well for what constitutes a handstand push-up. Maybe?
Change the meta. Yeah.
Yes, I like it.
Well, you know, I think we're kind of starting to see that a little bit, especially in the fact that some of these like well-known athletes from like 08 through 2012 are popping up in the Masters competition, like Matt Chan, Bill Grundler, you know, Kyle Kasperbauer, Neil
Has
Maddox.
Spieler talked about competing Masters?
I don't think so. I think he did the age group online qualifiers last year, but I don't know if he did it this year.
Interesting.
But you know, we're seeing some of that happen. But the interesting thing is going to be 15 years from now, when it's not, the Masters divisions aren't full of people who were athletes in high school 40 years ago and have like fucked their bodies up and are now getting back into shape, or were in generally good shape but then started CrossFitting when they were in their 40s. It's going to be people who've been CrossFitting since they were like 19. And it's like, I'm 36.
I'd say a lot earlier than 19.
I mean, like in like 10, 15 years.
Well, what I mean,
no,
you know,
it's the same thing as it's the same thing as like, you know, with like fucking like mixed martial arts now and all of that. It's like once the thing has, you know, become a thing that is popular or whatever, all of a sudden like kids now are sure they're wrestling, but they're training jujitsu and they're training boxing and they're training all of the things they have to train.
What's interesting is that the idea of a Masters division is the notion of, it's the former greats who are now competing, which obviously is never really applied to the Masters in CrossFit, because the Masters in CrossFit, because it was established at a point where the sport itself was so young, the Masters are generally people who like discovered CrossFit in their 40s or discovered CrossFit in their late 30s, and who never at any point were actually competitive on a pro level. Whereas now we're going to get to a point over the course of the next 10 years where hopefully the entirety of the Masters divisions, I mean, obviously not the 60+ category, but the ones in the 30s and 40s are going to be populated entirely with people who were former games athletes and regional athletes, which changes that competition into something that will hopefully look radically different than it is, and it's be worth watching, especially for old people like me who don't care about any of these new people, and I just want to see Chris Spieler and James Fitzgerald compete. Josh Everett, where's he? Why isn't he competing in the Masters? Come on, Josh Everett.
Man, I want to see that heavy split clean there.
Yes. The split clean. What was the split clean?
Just doing this. It's supposed to squat clean.
That's just his deal.
His
Split
deal.
snatch.
Split clean, split snatch.
Yeah.
Honestly, I should probably be doing that.
Why?
The squat, because the squat snatch and squat clean just never worked for me. Just never able to make anything efficient out of it. I could probably do a split clean with a hell of a lot heavier weight than I could a squat clean, just because my squat clean and my power clean are identical. So it's like a split clean is like a power clean, but you can get a little bit lower. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, a little bit lower. Maybe a little bit lower.
So
You better
basically,
get a
your
little bit lower.
split clean, your power clean, and your squat clean then will be completely equal, and then you'll just have added a third PR at the same weight.
I'm thinking I could get a 10-pound PR with a split clean.
Prove it. That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for the numerical quantifier right there. Prove it. I want to see it.
Yep, I recently got 275 with the power clean, which was a PR, oddly enough, after not having cleaned for a fucking 6 months.
That means split clean 285. Cliff, next week we're going to have video. It's going to debut live on Scale as Needed.
Next week may be a little too early.
Here it comes.
I'm recovering from my illness.
Walking
but
it back.
soon.
Cliff is very phlegmy right now.
Yes, my lungs are full of goo and rattling around there.
That's
So
right. I forget the cardio part of split cleans.
It's important for motivation to get into the gym. It's like I'm not showing
In
up at the
fairness,
gym.
we're all full of goo all the time, so
Noise.
no excuses.
Noise.
But usually it's the good kind of goo.
Scale is needed, full of goo.
Please don't do that one, Dakota. So
please do.
also, I was hoping that Chase would be here by the time we started talking about this, but
I'll do my best.
thank you. John Cena,
Oh,
and if you didn't know, strong motherfucker.
yes.
He's a minotaur of sorts.
The comedy actor?
Correct.
Appearing in Blockers this
Yes, and he just turned 41, and he also was lifting a lot of heavy weights. And I'm laughing because here's a video of him pulling 500 for 3. And before you say you can do that, that's fine. You probably could do that. But
Seffi Cohen can do that.
she also could do that. She just doesn't look like John Cena, nor is she 41 years old. So John Cena, for his, I mean, I don't know if it was for his 41st birthday, but kind of around that time went and did a pretty sick lifting sesh with like a 500 by 3 deadlift. I think he power cleaned like 355, 350, cool. 355, awesome. Something like that. And I just don't know, like 160 kilo power clean. Ugh. So the last time, I don't know if you guys know this, but John has been, we're on a first name basis. John has been
a big fan of the podcast for years, by
correct.
The way. John?
He's also been a weightlifter
Text me.
For a very long time. He's been legit like lifting, you know, doing cleans, snatches. There's videos of him snatching like 315, 320, 325, that sort of thing. His gym, his garage gym, his personal gym is like legendary. But he is also
legendary, mate.
He's
Bendigo. Sorry. Continue.
I need to get my green cube.
We gotta go to Bendigo to get my green cube.
I hate you.
Rick and Morty Bushland Adventure.
I hate that video.
I love it. It's
and I
very
hate
funny.
the guy who made it.
Wait,
I
I might have missed this video.
This was the Rick and
You're
Morty.
not missing out on anything.
They did like an
terrible.
April Fool's episode of Rick and Morty that was done by a different animator, but it was like with the Rick and Morty characters and set in Australia, called Rick and Morty Bushland Adventures, and it's hilarious.
It's not that
It's
funny.
very different than
It's
Rick and
not
Morty,
funny.
but it's basically Rick is just a crazy abusive grandfather kidnapping Morty and taking him to Bendigo to get his green cube and all of the adventures they have along the way.
There aren't really even that many adventures.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just him screaming at him for 8 minutes straight.
Threatens Morty's life, murders someone in cold blood,
Yes,
and then gets his dad dressed up in disguise to touch Rick's or Morty's dick.
Yeah, listen, don't try and find sense. It's just a crazy fever dream of a short. But my favorite bit is like is when he goes, "Hey Morty, I did science to me portal gun, and now it's a real gun. I got a real gun, Morty, and I'm gonna kill you."
If there was one thing that I had to say was my favorite part, it was the very end. Not just because it finished, but because he was like,
Uncle Barry.
Because he was like,
my soul flew right into the family ute.
Oh, I forgot
I'm Ute
about
Uncle
that
Barry.
Part. Get the fuck out of here. No, the part where he was like, "All right, Morty, where's the green cube?"
Oh yes,
He's like, "I didn't bring you here for. I don't know what the green cube is. You brought me here for the green cube." Then,
well, I was following you, mate.
It just sounds. Anyway, fucking John Cena,
Cara
great
Webb.
weightlifter. And so a couple years ago, Cena like destroyed his shoulder. And he was at that time training really heavy and trying to basically like see if it would be worth it for him to jump into some weightlifting meets, because I think his numbers are good enough to set some masters records in his weight class. So at least American records, I don't know. So he was doing that and he fucked up his shoulder and he wasn't able to really do anything overhead. And my understanding is, I don't think there's a video of this, but my understanding is for the first time in like 2 years, he actually jerked in this session. And so
He was really backed up.
maybe the the harbinger of seeing John Cena in a weightlifting singlet at a weightlifting meet has occurred. You know what I mean? He's gonna maybe show up.
Give it a try?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, the man is obviously a weightlifter at heart. I'm gonna say that.
I mean, he has millions of fans who adore him for going out in stadiums and on movie sets. Why wouldn't he want to put on a silly little man-lady bathing suit and go to a gymnasium somewhere in front of 15 people
Correct.
and embarrass himself?
Yes.
Why wouldn't he want to
Why
do
wouldn't
that?
he?
Oddly enough, yeah, the weightlifting singlet is so much more revealing than his usual wrestling getup.
Do you want to know exactly what his balls would look like if they were just red-colored?
Go on.
There, you're going to find out.
Well, yes. So yeah, hopefully that happens. I just want to be able to see John Cena put up like an actual total.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really fucking cool because he's so goddamn strong. And it's been like, I feel like, you know, he's what, 41, and he's just been lifting weights for the past 25 years.
John Cena
That's
was
some man strength.
apparently, I'm just repeating things I've heard on other podcasts now, but was being sued by Ford because he got like a like they made a super car, like a new Ford GT, and they sold it to like select people, but they couldn't resell it because they didn't want anyone flipping it. And he very quickly
a contract that you had to sign when they sold this to you, and not to resell it within like X number of years or whatever. Interesting. Because they were trying to get this car out into the hands of like influencers, and John Cena is a huge car collector. That's just like the shit he does. He lifts a lot of heavy weights. He acts in movies. He collects cars.
Fair
sounds
enough.
like a solid life.
So where does the lawsuit come in?
The lawsuit is because he apparently, for whatever reason, after he got the car, tried to sell it, unaware that he, I think was the thing. I heard someone speculating that it's apparently a very hard car to get into if you were a big person. And so he probably tried to sell it, and Ford was like, fuck you. But I don't think it's enforceable. And so, anyway, that's not really interesting, but it is. It's all there.
No, tell me more.
Blockers in theaters now.
At some point, Chase will show up and we'll talk about his regionals training. But until then, I want to know how was the Overlook?
Yes.
How was the Overlook Film Festival?
Don't pretend to not know.
Film Festival.
Yes. It was good. I was just in New Orleans. My knees hurt a lot right now just from walking around New Orleans on uneven streets and stuff. Nolans. Zatarans. I ate a fuck ton of oysters is what I did.
Good man. Raw, fried, grilled, everything.
Mostly raw,
Good
but
man.
also char grilled or whatever as well. But man, I got to tell you, I missed like one of the movies I was most excited to see. There was Hereditary, and I missed the whole movie because I was just so into eating oysters. All I was doing was sitting at a restaurant, ordering, because these listen, you think like I've had these are Gulf oysters. They are like literally the size of your wallet,
right?
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest oysters are like small, and dainty, and
these are
delicious.
These are fucking enormous.
Yeah,
these are like half a softball.
You're swallowing a tennis ball that's slimy.
Yes,
so
and
does
it's
it all
the
go
best.
down in one?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't bite it. It's just like you take this huge fucking thing, and it's like horseradish, cocktail sauce, and then fucking
unhinge your jaw.
Boom. Yeah, it's great. So good. And so I went to a place called Felix's. Shout out to Felix's Seafood in NOLA. And it was fucking great. I had fried alligator. I
delicious.
had tons of that. And I probably went back there like 3 times over the course of the 4 days I was there. It was delicious.
So are you telling me that you ate so many oysters you missed a movie? Hold on a second.
I had to make a call, basically, because I had seen one where I'd seen Upgrade, which we can get to in a minute. And then the next round immediately following was seeing Hereditary, which is a film that I wanted to see. It was only playing once. And then I thought, you know what? Hereditary's coming out in theaters in a month, and I really want to eat those oysters right now, and I don't want to have to wait all the way till the end of the night. So I'm going to go eat these oysters instead. And I did, and it was a good decision.
I like that it wasn't. This is my last chance to eat these oysters. I've got to eat these oysters instead of seeing this movie. It was, I don't want to wait 2 hours.
Yeah, pretty much. I was hungry and I wanted to eat them.
Well, looky this way. Yes, in a month it will be in theaters. All these movies will be in theaters for the most part, except for the really bad ones you walked out of.
Exactly.
And oysters, though, in New Orleans, you're never going back to New Orleans again.
It's true.
I'm
never going back. Ever really.
After what happens tomorrow.
It's the once and only opportunity.
But I saw some good stuff. I saw Upgrade while I was there. Have you seen the trailer for Upgrade yet?
No.
So Upgrade is the Logan Marshall Green is a paraplegic who gets an implant put in his spine that then gives him kung fu powers, basically.
What?
Where he's like has a robot in his brain. Anyway, it's really good. You should check it out. Future stuff. But anyway, that was really good. What else did I see? Oh, I saw a fantastic movie.
There he is.
It's Chase, everybody.
Saw a fantastic movie. We'll get to his regionals training in just a moment, called Revenge, which I strongly recommend everyone seeing. That was very revengey and full of revenge. And that's it. Someone else say something. I got nothing. Everyone's just watching the trailer.
Just watching this trailer for Upgrade. Seems pretty cool. I would want to see it at some point. Chase. Oh, you don't have a mic on. I don't want to talk to you for a second. Chase did join on the Facebook, by the way. Now I'm looking at the Facebook comments. And when we were talking about Dan Bailey and Sam Briggs, Chase goes, I called Dan Bailey not going last year after the pec blowout. And I think what he means is he basically said, rest in peace, Dan Bailey, you're never going back to the games after he blew out his pec.
Yeah. What you're saying is that he has haunted tendons? Is that what you're saying?
What you're saying is Chase is going to the games. Dan
Yeah. This is true.
No, you could just tell in post-event interviews with Dan Bailey that that he didn't care about going anymore.
Kyle Ehrenreich says should have gone to Dragos for the charbroiled oysters.
Oh,
Fucked up.
I don't know
And
that.
then
Next
Robert
time.
Klein says you had a moment like the girl did about the waffles.
About what?
Remember
Oh, yeah, the
little
waffles.
girl,
Yes.
the waffles.
That's right. Why just, like, you had waffles for breakfast and waffles for lunch. We're going to have something different.
Except you're like-
I want oysters. Yes, that is exactly what I did.
Good work.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Chase, are you mic'd up? You're mic'd up. How was
I'm
regional training?
It was good. It was really fun today. I got crushed by the worm,
No.
mostly because I can't count. That was the big
Wait,
fall
what?
through there.
He's talking
please
about
explain.
just pounding tequila right now.
No, we were working like starts and finishes on the worm, right? So we start on one mat, we sprint to the worm, do a couple movements, and then sprint to the finish. Supposed to be super easy. And apparently, what was said was we're going to do 3 thrusters and 6 push press, drop, then go. What I heard was we're going to do 6 thrusters and 3 push press. So on the 4th thruster, which doesn't happen, I went down.
You went down.
Nobody
Oh.
else did, and the worm just crushed me. Luckily, my team was just like, Chase is a jackass, just stay standing, he'll get up. And they didn't just let the worm fall on me. But
Oh, that's good.
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
They
with
didn't
the
just-
exception of that, it was good.
The person in the back didn't just go, God damn it, Chase, we missed out on qualifying for the games because you're an idiot. And
Yes.
then you started crying.
They're
Yeah.
widely aware of my inability to count. So they're just like,
Well, the funny thing is that the 3 or 4 position was just like their smallest female athlete, and Chase went down and she just got pulverized by the worm.
There's an alternate universe out there where Chase drops it, all of his teammates drop it, and they point and laugh as he bleeds out. There you go.
because that's what happens on the worm. You actually just start bleeding.
kills
out
it.
the worm.
They're counting on Chase's ear endurance there. His ears, turns out, are the only ones that are going to last all this worm training. So you'll really need to be carrying, lifting an outsized portion of that worm once it gets to regional.
It's very true. Ear endurance is huge on the worm because it's just like repetitive. Psh, psh, psh.
Yeah.
And thankfully,
Are you
years of
wearing
wrestling.
are you wearing the little cup things or whatever that wrestlers wear?
Nah,
No?
not wearing that bitch shit.
Headgear, that thing.
Wrestling headgear.
I only say that because Armin recently purchased a headgear for jiu-jitsu.
Oh.
I did.
You trying to protect your dainty little ears?
I am.
Yes.
They are dainty. They are not little, but I am trying to protect
Armin,
them.
if you're going to be doing jiu-jitsu there, you really just should go for that overall look, man. As soon as someone sees you walking down the street with the cauliflower ears, they know they're looking
He knows
badass.
he can't he can no longer cover up the ears because he's trimmed all the hair off of the sides of his head to achieve this mullet.
By the way, I applaud you protecting your ears from that cauliflower
Thank
bullshit.
you. Thank you.
In fact, the in order to rock the mullet, I think, in order to complete the mullet look, you need cauliflower
I
ears.
disagree
This is true.
Then
wholeheartedly.
no one will
Yep.
be able to make fun of you for the mullet because they think, I'd like to make fun of this guy for this mullet because that's so out of fashion these days. But look at those cauliflower ears. He can kick my ass.
I don't think cauliflower ears means you can kick
No.
someone's ass.
It sort of does, though.
No, it just means that you have sufficiently gotten your ass kicked. It doesn't
Yeah.
really mean anything.
Winners
Your
winners
ear
have
has been
cauliflower
rubbed
too.
into like the mat and other people's armpits.
That is just not true.
You guys have a complete misunderstanding of how cauliflower.
Yes, I know. It's like winners have cauliflower
ear
too.
just happens regardless. What it means is
See?
you spent
That's what I'm
10,000
saying.
hours on the mat.
Correct.
Because
That
you
means
get
that
it
you
from hitting
train.
another guy's like thigh and like their body. It's not from getting your head smashed.
Mainly
into
thighs and bodies.
Yes.
Thighs and body.
Wrestling's a gay sport. What can I say?
Noise.
Flow wrestling at me.
Wrestling.
No one's made that joke
Dude,
before.
hot takes, by the way, out of Chase
Yeah.
today. Just
Chase
like
coming in punchy after
laying
the
down Dan Bailey,
Uh-huh.
calling out the entire sport of wrestling.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sorry.
I
Lucas
do
Parker,
want
same
you.
boat.
I do want you to say that exact phrase. Just walk up to the wrestling team at work and stop.
They know.
Yeah, it's
They
not a
would-
secret.
They'd be like, "You get it."
That is the thing is that when I first started as an editor at Flow years and years ago, I remember Mark Bader came in and started just rubbing me on the shoulders, and then he looked and then he noticed that I was like, because I was editing something, he comes up and he's rubbing my shoulders as he's talking to me, and I barely knew Bader at that time, and I was just I looked at him and he goes, "Sorry, I'm a wrestler. I have no sense of personal space." Because I just spend years just rubbing up against all my friends. So I have no sense of boundaries.
Yeah, I also I don't know if they have a sense of work fun balance, because all they do is play spike ball at the office. Like, we had to move their spike ball tournament area away from Chase and my desk because they kept
Lord forbid.
They kept throwing the ball into our monitors.
I don't think that's so much wrestlers as so much as the kind of people who express themselves in relaxation and fun by doing physical things.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Something I don't relate to at all. If I have any free time to not be obligated to do something, I'm not moving.
Sloth.
I need to serious grim motivation to get to be moving or doing anything physical.
No, it's true, because like it's a thing. Like, you know, I have never once in my life been like sitting around on like a Saturday or Sunday, going, you know what I should do? I should go on a hike.
No, I like hikes and activities. I just don't like leaping around at the office because A, I'm fighting a battle against sweat every day. I've just been cursed with that. And B, after years of doing all sorts of athletic stuff, my knees are a problem. And the idea of with no warming up in the middle of the office, I'm going to go leaping around after a yellow ball sounds fucking terrible to me. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Well, and I guess what I'm getting at is the idea of spontaneously getting up and deciding, oh, I want to do a physical activity right now. Like I want to play spike ball. Oh, I want to, go on a hike. It's like, my gym sessions are planned. If I ever go on a hike, it is a planned occasion of like, all right, I guess I'm doing this thing. I'm on vacation, whatever.
Spontaneous activity is opening Coachella next year, actually.
Heyo.
And their first single is Sweaty Jesus.
Sweaty hipster Jesus.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's all you guys did? You guys? Oh, that's right. It's a deload week for you.
Yeah, but we did a EMOM. It was like a 4-round EMOM. I don't know how long it went on for because it was a long time. But it was synchro chest to bar, synchro handstand push-ups, synchro toe to bar, and then synchro handstand walk. Wait, that's not. It was like one at a time handstand walk, and then synchro burpees.
Is the synchro just you and one other partner?
No,
the whole team?
At first, it was just one, like boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. That's really hard to say. And then like the last 2 rounds was like 3 guys, 3 girls, and then the final round was all 6 of us going at the same time. Yeah,
that would be doing an EMOM synchro would be hard because I like to stop at a certain point. And when the whole team is going, that sounds like that's a lot of pressure for you to also keep going. But I guess that's sort of the whole thing behind
might be the entire
affiliate cup. So
yeah, it was super not fun.
Yeah.
How fit do you feel right now, Chase?
I feel super fucking fit, dude. Like, way more fit than I did before the Open.
Nice.
Wow.
It's like crazy. I can't rest when I want to rest. I think that's the key thing.
Are you taking your beta-alanine?
Yes,
Chase?
I'm taking a shit ton
Is
of
it working?
beta-alanine. Yeah, I snort it before I wake up. Before I wake up.
Before I wake up.
Actually, he rolls over into a pile of beta-alanine every morning. Just
every night, he just like puts a little mound of beta-alanine on his pillow, so as he rolls over in the morning.
He just sleeps at his desk, but it's like Scarface, so it's just piles of beta-alanine on it.
Yeah. So I think it's just a combination. Like, we're doing 2-a-day training sessions, getting body work, doing all the like yoga, whatever stuff to like recover. Just doing everything they say that you're supposed to do to get better actually works. It's really trippy.
Word.
Sick.
Consistent exercise makes you fitter, as it turns out.
Is it weird or interesting? I'm just curious. I just want to ask this question. I want to know what people think they're watching and listening. I want to know what Chase thinks. I want to know what you guys think. You start off doing CrossFit. Generally speaking, you're not very fit. Some people are pretty fit when they start, but either way, you have a series.
Your Mies, for example.
Yes, you have a little amount of time or a lot amount of time where you improve pretty regularly.
Oh yeah,
right.
Every week.
At a certain point, you stop improving pretty regularly, and then maybe you start improving every few months, or you have to kind of change up what you're doing, and maybe
your traps can only get so big.
Right. Start focusing specifically on one thing, getting better at that one thing to bring up. Right. But at a certain point, like at a Chase point, if someone gets to Chase's fitness level, are we at the point where the only way for someone at Chase's fitness level to get fitter is to just like start working out twice a day?
Well, if Chase is the kind of person who, if Chase still has room left in his fitness that could be accessed with more exercise, because he clearly hasn't hit his limit yet. Whereas I think some people, and as you get older, this certainly would decrease, and I think some people just never have it. Like there's a serious point of diminishing returns, and while exercising more consistently or being more fit can take them to a certain point, adding additional volume is going to be counterproductive because they're just going to be hurt and injured, and their tendons and their things are just going to start breaking down. I don't think, I mean, even while my volume has increased over the course of the past 10 years, like I think that if I were working out as much as Chase was, even if I worked into it, I think I would just be suffering from so much inflammation and injury at this point that it would actually hinder my overall physical capability.
I know for a fact that I cannot handle training twice a day there, because for that brief period of time where I was trying to do jiu-jitsu and kickboxing and CrossFit all at the same time at the Exidium, I was doing 2-a-days, many days. Tried to do this for a few weeks here, a few weeks there, off and on. Always left feeling any good run of doing that consistently, feeling way worse than when I started. Way less fit, all the joints hurting, way weaker. Didn't work for me.
I think Chase has capacities that he is accessing that are closed doors to some people.
So you know how most people only use 10% of their brain? Most of us are only using 10% of our fitness.
And some of us only need to use 10% of our dick.
Just the tip, bro. So we just high-fived over that, bro.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
all right, guys, I need you to go back and edit that out of the live stream, please. Thank you very much.
I definitely think there's diminishing returns if you're not doing all the stuff outside the gym that you have to do to be able to train twice a day. Oh, so it's like you're training twice a day, but realistically you're training like 3 to 4.
It is 100% true, by the way, that like a lot of this is like if you are willing to also do all of the mobility work and all of the good dieting and all of the stuff that's necessary to keep your body not inflamed and more supple and not all that, that can, I think, increase the ceiling on it. I just have gone through years of my life where I was trying to increase volume, where I was exercising I was going to like CrossFit 6 times a week, and I was staying for an hour. I was like coming in to do like an hour's worth of like lifting warm-up style stuff with just a rod to get the blood flowing, and then I would stay after for 45 minutes and do mobility stuff, and really like I was on like Kelly Starrett's stuff, looking up to how do I free up my hips and how do I free up my QI and all that. And the problem is twofold. A, I would still begin to accrue just all kinds of pains as the volume would increase, and I couldn't counteract it with mobility work. And secondly, I noticed there was a serious ceiling on my ability to build more strength and engines. Sorry, a bigger engine and more strength. Like, I can get strong to a certain point, and then the progress slows down to a drip. Or I can get fit to a point, but if we go on a run, even when I was at my fittest, I'm finishing last among everyone there. So it's like there gets to be a point where you're doing all this work, and the amount of return you're getting is so minuscule on that for me that I began to have to find a better workout life balance than that. So whereas I feel like Chase is at an age and clearly has tremendous genetic gifts that I do not have, that he can continue to throw shit at his fitness and just still is getting returns and getting returns and getting returns on it. So
yeah, I'm just imagining like a situation where, for me, I've been lucky enough to find other things that interest me enough to, take my time, like jiu-jitsu, or over the past year, it's been a lot of like engine and cardio type training. But I wonder, like, I don't think there is any class program that I could join and go regularly to and get like better in. Like I could maybe get back to the level of fitness that I had by doing more CrossFit, because I'm doing very little actual CrossFit workouts right now. I can maybe get back to where I was,
Back to that
but I
OC
wonder, like,
throwdown winter kind of shit.
that's right.
Goddamn
Get
right.
back to that level.
Yeah, we're gonna do a lot more of that from now on.
Heyo. But getting better from that point, like literally like improving, right? Being better at weightlifting and gymnastics and CrossFit-y workouts and doing better. I feel like that is an ask that my actual time does not allow me to answer. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't know. Like, have we gone to a point where fitness turns into like this Sisyphean endeavor for people?
Well, that's the thing, is that you have to realize that beyond a certain point, especially like it's like when they say one movie, for every $1 of budget they spend $1 on marketing. For every $1 more you spend on your own fitness in terms of your time, you have to spend at least, it seems, that much more on mobility to counteract the negative effects of that exercise or whatever. And then so it's just like at a certain point, you know, it just becomes, especially if you're not seeing a return on the fitness, you're not seeing your capacity increase dramatically, it just feels less and less worth. It's like, couldn't I just dial this back by like 70% but keep 95% of the gains I've made up to this point? That sounds way better to me. And you know, and I think that's the point that we hit. Incidentally, I just thought of this because I was doing this math hard for me, but this summer will mark the 10-year anniversary of Cliff and I doing CrossFit. So we will have, it'll be 10 years as of this June or July.
Nice. Starting in the backyard of an apartment we had with a little 20-pound
the possum
dumbbell.
apartment.
The possum
That's right.
apartment. The
Buddy
possum
boy.
apartment with a 20-pound dumbbell, or 20-pound barbell with the little screw-on plates.
Like a prosumer.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
like
Like you ordered it out of a Sears catalog.
Exactly.
Because we wanted to do deadlifts and drop the bar on occasion, had moving boxes that we taped together.
Yeah. Stacks of moving boxes.
Stacks of moving boxes out into the grass of the yard out there.
Wrapped in duct tape, yeah.
So that the
You guys are
place
badass.
could go.
Yeah, well, that's
Or
where it all
you were
started.
You're just
Oh, we were
poor,
terrible at
needy
it.
and poor. Yeah.
And I know I've told this story, but it all began with the 16-week CrossFit strength and conditioning like intro program, which I don't know if did that come from .com or did that come from?
It was an article on.
Yeah. But it was like day one. It was like all the like it was just running various 400-meter things mixed with weightlifting things. But day one's running assignment was 400 meters for time, and I got a DNF because I took off like 400 meters. I just have to run to that stop sign and back. Well, I'll just run as fast as I can. And I got to the stop sign and turned around and then realized I was going to throw up. And so after about 200 meters of sprinting and stopped. The next day was deadlift 15 reps for maximum race.
15-12-9.
Yeah, 15-12-9 at some very light weight. So I did the 15 reps and then walked over to a wall and nearly threw up. So that's where I started. So that's part of why I became enamored with CrossFit, is I had zero muscle mass and I had zero fitness, and very quickly and very tangibly I saw like I went from not being able to complete 400 meters to doing like 400, then 15 deadlifts, 400, 15 deadlifts, 400, which is like where you are in like week 5, and like crushing it. And then like all of a sudden seeing like I had muscles developing on my body that I'd never seen before. The traps were the first thing, I'm telling you. And so, yeah. And then it's like in that time, you know, when you're in those early couple years of CrossFit, when you're just like everything I put in, so everything I put in, I get so much back. It's so intoxicating, and that lasts a certain number of years, and then it stops. So, but
I mean, I was equivalently level 0 when I began. I mean, my first workout, I puked 3 times.
Yes.
Once during the warm up,
and your nipples were way too large back then.
Large. The nipple to body ratio was just way off.
Yeah, so that's much more proportional now.
I puked during the warm up because there were walking lunges in it. I puked after Tabata push-ups, on which I scored 3.
Yeah.
And then I puked while carrying my coach's bag back to her car. I was like, I'll help you out with that. And then picked it up, made it 10 feet, and was like, too much lactic acid.
So I'm realizing 2 things right now. One, I guarantee you I still have my Excel spreadsheet of the CrossFit intro program from when I did it at the other shitty apartment.
Yep.
And I'm really curious to open that up tonight and look at it. But then too, I also remember my first CrossFit workout at Exidium, like having to stop DNFing because like, oh god, I'm gonna throw up. Oh no, this is bad. Why did I eat Chipotle today? Because I remember distinctly.
Why did I eat it immediately before walking into the gym?
I remember distinctly feeling the burn and of the hot sauce from the burrito in my stomach, going, "Oh, it's gonna be bad. This is gonna be bad." And then what was his name? The main trainer today. Are you
Justin?
okay? Is everything
Justin.
fine? Yeah. Just being exceptionally nice to me while also being like, "You can't finish this." Like,
Yeah.
I have never thrown up all the way. I've just had such a fear of it that like
up
as
a lot.
soon as I start to feel nauseous, I just stop. And I think that's I lack the killer instinct.
Yeah, that is the odd thing. We talked about it before, but no, I've never thrown up. I've once on a long run crapped my pants. But never.
Hold on a second. We are 88 episodes in, and you have
first
yet
time this
to
came up?
bring up the
No,
fact
we have
that
definitely heard about him pooping his
Yeah,
pants
we
while
talked
running.
about
Oh,
this
did we?
before, and
Okay.
like a few episodes ago.
Oh,
It was
Okay.
a whole story.
I don't remember that.
It was a fun story. We
You
talked
probably
about
blacked
it.
it out of your memory.
I did.
All right.
Stay
Well, for the
right
sake
at
of
the
the
top
audience,
line.
we won't repeat it, but we're gonna look into this and come back potentially next week.
I'm not 100% sure what my first CrossFit workout was, but I'm pretty confident that it was Diane.
Diane,
God.
yeah.
Is
Is
that
that handstand
25?
push-ups?
Yeah,
So you did
21,
handstand push-ups in
59.
your first one?
Huh?
You did
Deadlifts and
handstand
handstand
push-ups in your first
Yeah,
workout?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, and that was like my first one at an affiliate.
Yeah.
And
And
I
you
just
did them
remember
perfectly.
the guy that was like coaching me and welcoming me to the place. He was just like, "Yeah, man, you can hop into this workout. It's a girl workout, which you don't know what that means, but you'll find out. It's pretty easy. You'll see."
Yeah.
And he's huge. He's like a 230-pound man, maybe 240. And I'd never seen anyone just do handstand push-ups like that. And I was like, that. You don't just have to do one and rest. So I do this workout and just.
Well, I remember I remember handstand push-ups were such a crazy thing because I remember looking at them like I learned to do them in my apartment, the Possum apartment, by like stacking books and then like going against the wall and just inverting myself was crazy the first time I did it. Like it was just like I'm not sure about
It was
this.
about an hour of flailing around for both of us to figure out how to do that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like riding a bicycle, you never forget once you learn.
Yeah.
My only like dealings with handstand push-ups up until that point was like Nicolas Cage and Con Air.
Yes.
Like, that's I'd seen them. So I was just like, oh shit,
Everyone
I got a
remembers that. And by
badass.
the way, if you watch it these days here, you remember being so impressed with him as a kid, thinking that's an impossible feat. Now looking at it, he's going down like 2 inches.
Yeah, it's really not that
Not even close to
My-
4
Yeah,
my-
but his fists are registered lethal weapons.
That's right. My fitness idols are obviously Nicolas Cage in Con Air and Sarah Connor in Terminator 2, doing those
true.
chin-ups
That's true.
from her bed pole.
That is pretty badass.
Yeah.
I do remember, if you like thinking about handstand push-ups, by the way, I remember the thing that really sort of like was the tipping point for me, because I will also be having my 10-year anniversary later this year.
Yeah.
The thing that was the tipping point for me was it was either right after I had just started or right before I started. It was Everett doing King Kong.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember watching it and thinking, this is impossible.
Yeah.
Like a human being should not be able to do this workout. And then secondarily, oh nice, here we go, Nicolas Cage doing handstand push-ups.
I think it may be queued up.
Secondarily, not just the fact that he was doing that workout, but also it had one of the most badass songs of all time. Oh dude, he's doing like an L-sit, like a yogic L-sit.
Yeah.
It has a...
If any of us knew anything about yoga, we could tell you what that
I
was.
have no idea what that is. But either way, those workouts were sort of the type of things that you see.
He's
where
totally
you're like,
faking his
Hey,
open
there-
workout.
Yeah, he's
there.
definitely faking those pull-ups.
He's like, he's just
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
guy in his garage. Yeah.
He doesn't know what his face should look like at the top of a pull-up.
No. the funniest puking story I've had though was actually not immediately after exercising. It wasn't like, oh god, this workout's really hard.
Yeah.
It was sudden, violent, and very, very bloody. And so
Cool.
Yeah. So it was.
I had just killed 3 people and I threw up because I was disgusted
Yeah.
with myself.
So we did this workout. I forget which hero workout it is. It's running and air squats and muscle ups in a weight vest, and I forget what it's called. But it was great. It went really well, actually. I felt really good the entire time. And then later that day, I went back to my place. I was at my parents' place. I went to my parents' place. Beautiful fucking day outside. I grilled up some food. I hung out at the pool. I had coffee.
Nipples on display.
Nipples on display for everybody to see.
Yep.
Hung out with some friends. It was fantastic. Cut to like 11 p.m. I'm in bed. I'm just about to like roll over and get ready to sleep, and I start feeling something very strange in my belly. And then within 15 seconds of that moment, I was face in a toilet bowl, puking blood into.
See, it sounds like you just got food poisoning. That's all that sounds
Certainly
like.
not.
Because you ate,
No.
and then later
There
on while
were-
you're in bed, you were sick.
There were like 7 other people
Okay.
who ate the food. No one got sick. I ate everything that everyone else did. I am convinced that there was a demon within me that needed to be exorcised. that like sort of grew into my body. It was like, you cannot have positive vibes to this hero
Was there some
workout.
part of you, though, when you threw up blood into the toilet that thought, oh no, is this the beginning of the end? like it's going to, like in the movie of my life, this is cut to me sitting on a doctor's table and I'm saying, listen, I don't know how to put this, but, and then yada, yada, yada. This is the beginning of your personal Breaking Bad happening right there.
Strangely, no. Maybe
No.
I don't know what that says about me. That
You just were young and felt
I was gonna say,
invincible.
and I was
How old
like,
were you? Yeah.
I was probably like 20, 21.
Yeah, no, that's exactly why.
I like
So
puked
then
a
I
whole
went and
bunch
did a
of
keg
blood.
stand and
Yeah,
came
I was
back.
like, huh, that'll be a funny story. It's like, just
Yeah.
don't tell mom. That was my
Yeah.
friend. I was like, just don't tell mom you puked blood.
Uh-huh.
We'll move on from that moment, and everything's been fine since.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything's been fine since.
You look
Yep.
good.
I hope mom's not watching. But I'm
Cut
okay
to
now, Mom,
5
so
minutes
don't worry
from
about
now.
Yeah.
Armin puking blood in
Right.
the bathroom.
It's okay.
back.
Yeah,
I was gonna
Chase.
say real quick, Robert Klein on here wanted to know if any of these regional athletes are doing altitude training for Salt Lake, and I was just gonna say, yeah, we are, and it sucks super bad. Just trying to get like in the hypoxic state and then become better breathers overall.
Holy
That's about
crap.
all you can do.
I forgot about that entirely. The
yeah.
whole regionals are at altitude. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that really sucks for you.
Advantage to the Colorado teams
Yeah.
and the Utah teams.
I think we'll be all right. Hopefully,
Yeah.
we'll see. We're doing everything that we can, and there's not a lot of.
Have you taken
proven
that
methods other
special
than
beet
going
juice?
and just getting adapted to it, right? So
beetroot juice.
Yeah, are you doing beetroot juice?
yes.
Good move.
Word.
Well, then you're doing everything that I know.
Are you
so-
sleeping in one of those chambers like Lance Armstrong?
No.
Well,
Well, then you're not really fucking committed, are you?
Yeah.
Are you working out with a Jason from Friday the 13th Part 2
Yes.
bag over your head?
No. But
are you doing cryo?
no, we're doing a couple things. You can actually see it in Armin's vlog from last week. Just a little stuff with this machine called the Spyro Tiger. I basically just suffocate myself for 20 minutes. And
How does this work? Explain more. It says it's called a Spyro Tiger, so I'm assuming it's a spirograph. First of all,
What is
that
a
you put on your
spirograph?
face? It's a thing. You're too young, Armin. You spin a piece of paper and you put pens
you
or
put the
whatever.
pen
It
inside
draws
of it.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
no, that's not
Yes.
what it is at all. But it's like a little breathing apparatus. You breathe into like a bag, and it limits how much comes back to you, type of thing. And then you have like a what is it called? Like an oxidimeter. I don't know. It tells you what your blood oxygen
yeah.
level is.
So Chase is into really complicated autoerotic asphyxiation.
Essentially,
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So you do that. You're watching your heart rate. You're watching your blood oxygen level while you're watching porn, and you have to keep your heart rate under a certain level.
But it's worth it in the end, you guys. Trust me.
It's
Just
it's
try
great.
it. Don't knock it.
It's the weirdest thing I do in the gym, hands down.
Yes.
What about the weirdest thing you do hands up?
Heyo.
All right. So,
I don't even know what that
I don't
meant.
know what that means either. But he said hands down. I want to go hands up. There's a little juxtaposition.
Yeah. Moving
So,
on.
you guys, now that the fitness talk is done, and it's done,
Thank God.
thank God.
But Chase should get one of those sick ass masks that looks like you're in Slipknot, but it's for breathing.
those are so stupid.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
they
what you
actually
need
don't
to get.
do anything.
Those are so stupid.
Yeah.
If you own a training mask, burn it.
Yes.
And
He needs a training
breathe in
mask.
all the melted plastic because we don't need you in our world
He needs a
anymore.
training mask. Plus, he needs one of those weight vests, but that instead of just having weights, it has the silicone muscles formed in it.
Oh, yeah.
I used to have one of those. My brother
Yeah,
bought
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he used it once and then never washed it. And I was like, what the fuck is this disgusting smelling thing?
Yeah, it's real stinky.
Same brother with Pierce's tongue, by the way. So he
man.
had some strange...
Speaking of you and your brothers, I saw on Katie's Instagram stories some pretty fantastic portrait photography of you and your brothers being dapper little gentlemen.
The brothers Amirian, yeah.
Do you have a photo of that anywhere? I should have screen grabbed it at the time.
I do not.
But it's like you kind of looking serious and pouty.
We are
in
all
black and white.
Yeah.
Yes, all just smoldering hard.
It's lit so that you can only
Katie,
see our
if you're watching,
faces.
text me a picture of it.
All
right.
It's lit so you can only see our faces.
Yes.
It's in high contrast, black and white.
Yeah.
And we're all smoldering real fucking
And you look
hard.
like you're about 10 years old in
That's
that?
about right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought this was recent.
No,
shit,
it's
but
just
no.
a...
We want to
just-
recreate it.
Just a
but-
tiny little cherubic round arm and head
yeah, we want
smoldering
to
at the camera.
We want to recreate it, but apparently the photographer and
was arrested for
no,
pederasty.
very, very fucking expensive for his time. I do not want to spend that money, so we're gonna have to find a way of doing it ourselves. But yes, yes, that is a real thing. I'll find a picture of it. I'll put it up on our Instagram.
Cool.
All right, so the Venom trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Venom trailer just came out
It was
and featuring Tom Hardy with I don't know how to describe it, but
it's an interesting voice.
Yeah, with an
interesting choice of voice.
A voice that I can only describe as just constant ADR. Like it just sounds like not one word coming out of his mouth matches his mouth's movement. It's all
Well, that's a lot of trailers though. It's like they mush things together.
yeah, mushed is a great way of describing it. It's all mushed together.
Yeah.
He also, it seems like the Venom superpower that he gains is just to have like this, you know, the stretchy sticky hand toy that kids get.
Yeah.
That's like his superpower.
His superpower is gack.
Yes.
It's like he's just gacking fools.
One of my buddies described it as a grim dark flubber, and that's again very unfortunately
What's
accurate.
shocking to me is that the film has such a knockout cast. Like it's Tom Hardy, Jenny Slate, Michelle Williams, all these people. The other one, the brown one, and what is his name? Riz Ahmed. Yes.
Riza
Well, so what
Ahmed.
happened was they all heard, I get to be in a Marvel movie? And, well...
They're like in
Well, I love, by the way,
conjunction with.
I love the in association with Marvel like thing. It's like, look, no, see, it's kind of a Marvel movie, guys.
They were all duped into being it. But the thing is, for a movie that has this stellar of a cast, how they can have a trailer where not one moment seems to work. Like even just the moments of him being a reporter, all of these things. There's a little bit, the little upgrade section where he fights them in the kitchen's kind of fun. But yeah, anyway, it doesn't look great.
Yeah, but that's the main takeaway, though. I know Armin hasn't seen the upgrade trailer, but which is really, really obvious and bizarre is that we just saw a really good trailer for a movie starring a guy who looks just like Tom Hardy, where he has superpowers given to him by a little voice in his head.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like there's a voice in his head that's talking to him, and then when some guys attack him in a kitchen, he then the computer takes over and like
Wait,
fights
is this an
them.
upgrade or are you talking
This is
about?
an upgrade. I know,
Shit.
and that's also this trailer. It's like this trailer is also him talking to the symbiote, and then all of a sudden he's in a kitchen and some guys attack him, and the thing takes over and kicks their asses while he looks surprised. And it's in both movies, and it's weird. Anyway, upgrade. So
It just like that whole thing where he hits the motorcycle. The motorcycle thing doesn't really seem to work for me. The whole Venom, he looks cool, but fuck.
It's like that's like the Venom costume kind of looks sort of cool, whatever. But like so much of this is just like, what is this movie? It's like it really feels like we took another script and then slapped Venom on it and went, all right, cool, we're done.
Yeah. Right, they took the script for Upgrade.
yeah.
I mean, wouldn't it? If I was going to try to make a Venom movie, I would probably make it like a set in space horror movie like Aliens that ends up crashing back into Earth to tie into whatever.
Well, that is too expensive for the movie that they are making.
Well, then we're done.
But
over.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where it's just like clearly Sony still has the rights to these characters. They're having to split Spider-Man with Marvel right now, which means they're splitting the money off of that. But they figured they could take some of that goodwill and still take a viable property that people are interested in and make a movie, but keep it all to themselves, you know, and that's just, you know, anyway.
So it begs repeating this, to be very fucking clear. Unlike Spider-Man: Homecoming, which was produced by Marvel,
Yes.
this movie only has the quote in association with Marvel because Sony has the rights to make a movie
Yes.
on
Correct.
Venom.
Well, all the stuff, even the Fox stuff, all bears that Marvel logo at
Right.
the beginning because that's part of their
Right.
part of the original
But
deal.
it's
But
not-
yes, Spider-Man: Homecoming
But
was
it's not
licensed.
11
Marvel
seconds of the
Studios.
trailer like it is in Venom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But they all have that, and so yeah, it's just this. But this is produced entirely by Sony, whereas despite Sony still technically owning the movie rights to Spider-Man Homecoming was produced entirely by Marvel. So you know, and stuff.
Wow. Well,
Yep.
Stuff.
Yeah.
It's-
Speaking
it's-
of Marvel movies,
yeah, speaking of
Yes.
Marvel movies,
we're gonna see Infinity War
Infinity
tomorrow.
War comes out in less than 24 hours. And we're all going to go see it tomorrow night separately, but we're all going to go see it tomorrow
Well,
night.
we're gonna see it together.
Yeah.
You're
Well, fuck you
separate for
guys.
some reason.
Katie and I are going to go watch it at the Ritz. Fancy pants.
Fancy
We're
pants
going to
style.
watch it at the Ritz. And
Nice.
I am pretty excited. I don't know what else to feel about it. So
Yeah.
my buddy sent me like a 20-minute supercut of like the entire MCU. And I was like, I'm not watching this. This
Oh,
is
yeah,
cool,
yeah.
but I'm not watching this.
I clicked on one of those like 7-minute, like here's everything that has happened in the Marvel universe, and I made it through about 30 seconds of that.
I feel like I don't really need to be caught up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we have a bunch of coworkers who are like, I've been fucking watching every. I was like,
Yeah.
what do
Why?
you do with your time?
Who has that much time?
What are you doing? They were talking 18 movies that you
Yeah.
just sat through, and
Well, that's
all
like-
of them
I-
are the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
What are you doing?
But no, I had thought about it, and it's like, yeah, I literally just didn't have the time to do it. But it is an interesting thing, like seeing all the stuff that is popping back up or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, remember when the first Thor movie sucked?
Yeah.
But
Kenneth
like,
Branagh directing Thor.
I don't know.
which
like,
sounds like a good
I thought that
idea.
was okay.
Thor's all right.
Get Edward Norton Hulk, still part
Edward
of
Norton
this
Hulk.
universe.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep. That
Wait,
would be
what?
that would be a big twist to come in. Is all of a sudden Mark Ruffalo is the Hulk, and then Edward Norton's Hulk shows up, and they.
Edward Norton's Hulk is still part of this universe.
Well, that movie, it's
Oh,
technically
okay.
the same
Yeah.
character because that was the second Marvel production.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Remember, Tony Stark shows up at the end.
yeah, of
Oh,
that.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Wow.
But yeah.
But anyway, we're all going to see this damn movie. It's interesting to see Marvel, who is again just sort of taking their victory lap, essentially with this. But the fact that they had their biggest movie yet, like a month and a half ago,
Still in theaters.
still in theaters with Black Panther, and then now they have the culmination of the entire series coming out like a month and a half later, and that prominently features the Black Panther, who is at the center of their biggest movie ever. So it's
One
just
of
like, how much more can they fucking dunk on DC? Just fucking break the backboard.
my favorite
with
thing-
Deadpool.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
was talking with one of the editors the other day, Kyle Sweeney, and we were talking about how happy the marketing people must have been when it's like, well, you see, in Avengers: Infinity War, like ends up, featuring Wakanda like very prominently, including M'Baku and like Shuri and all of the characters that like were breakouts from the. It's like because like yes, some of the characters are gonna end up being breakouts or whatever, but like the marketing people getting the stuff and being like, oh shit, we get to cut a trailer with Shuri, we win, we fucking.
Who is Shuri?
The
She's
sister?
the sister.
That's
Oh,
Yeah.
the sister.
Nice. My guess
She's
worked.
Tony Stark Part 2.
That's right.
No,
Yes.
it's like she's Tony Stark Part 2, and then like M'Baku, the giant badass. We're vegetarians.
That's
guy.
right. The
Oh,
gorilla
yes.
guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I like that.
What I'm looking forward to is a 2-hour, 40-minute long movie in which most of the characters say less than 3 lines, and it's just a series of badass moments. That's all I want. Just give me a series of badass moments.
That's the thing. It's going to be 2 hours and 40 minutes of several big CGI battles. at least 60% of the film will be quipping, just people standing in little half circles quipping at each other, and then at some point someone or multiple people will die dramatically.
Which brings us to
I read one review of Infinity War. Do you want to know what it said?
No.
You guys care?
Well, in terms of spoilers, no, I don't want to.
I mean, it didn't have any spoilers, I feel like.
oh, well, you can read a review, yeah.
It told me one thing about the structure of the movie that I did not know previously.
Sure, fuck it, let's put it out there, especially now that Daniel doesn't want to do it.
Daniel
say
doesn't
it.
want to know.
Fuck you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, everyone died. No, I'm just kidding. That having seen Infinity War, it makes sense why they had to split this storyline into two, because what the previous 18 movies haven't done well is set up Thanos. And so apparently a large portion of this movie is used to try and set up Thanos, which to me is interesting because now it's not just like, oh, we have a nameless big bad showing up with like the same type of I have a blue laser that's going to destroy your world.
So hopefully you'll give a shit about who
hopefully
he
we'll
is
give a
at
shit
the
about who
end.
Thanos is. That's all. And that to me was surprising.
And
I
the
was like,
other
oh,
thing
that's
it said is that Captain America dies.
like,
So.
which brings us to
and then his body is
the Avengers Infinity War death pool.
A Deadpool, if you will.
Yes. Where I would say let's go ahead and make some predictions on who we think is going to bite it. Winner gets a prize.
Vision.
I feel
definitely.
like
Vision's kind of
Vision's gonna bite it. Yeah,
gone
yeah.
there,
you kind of have to tear that thing out of his forehead, and without it, it's kind of hard to believe that he'll be around. So
Well, the
that's
other thing is
one.
that this is just to take a step back from the I'm sure what we'll get. I haven't read a single review, but I'm sure we're going to get lots of references to Empire Strikes Back over the course of the next few weeks. Because I'm assuming this being this 2-part thing, that this is going to be a lot of building towards a big tragic ending where the bad guys sort of win and a couple crucial characters die, or it seems like they die, and it's going to end on that sort of cliffhangery, downery note to be then, so that we can then come back for Infinity War Part 2. So expect to have lots of references to Carbonite and Empire Strikes Back in the next couple of weeks. That is my guess. We'll see next week if that, in fact, is the case.
And I feel like that's the logical thing to do. I don't think Tony Stark makes it out of this movie, and I think that will be our thing at the end, our Carbonite moment, our
Ooh, you think Tony's gonna be the one who dies?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
interesting.
That's what I'm thinking.
They have been pulling him out a lot for the other movies. Last Captain America movie, Iron Man. Last Spider-Man movie, Iron Man. First Infinity War movie, Iron Man.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
So
a good point.
It's like he started it, and then he ends in it.
I think Ant-Man dies.
Right before his movie that comes out in July.
Well, just because this movie comes out in July doesn't mean it have to take place after
It's
Infinity
true.
War.
Yes, they could make it
Why are you guys
extra
fucking
confusing.
laughing at me? Fuck you guys.
But yeah, I'd say there's a pretty. I would not be surprised to see Robert Downey Jr. Dead at the end of this. So, like the person, they're gonna try and.
yeah, they will actually like.
He's made so much fucking money off of this.
As it turns
They're
out,
just going to bring in Johnny Depp for the next movie to play Iron Man instead. So.
As it turns out, it's just a live stream of the Robert Downey Jr. snuff film.
Ouch.
This might have been the only thing keeping him alive. Got to think about, because remember before, way back in olden days, before the first Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr.'s whole thing was he was a drug addict, and his whole life was a total mess. And he finally cleaned himself up and made his comeback with Iron Man. He's been clean and fit and doing all. Everyone loves him now for this Iron Man role. Maybe after the Iron Man.
He's gonna fall off the wagon.
Exactly.
He's at that level of money where it just doesn't matter. You can fall off the wagon. You can do whatever. He's at that. Like, you just look at Johnny Depp, who has had a similar career renaissance. Like, clearly that guy is just buying houses and like spending $1 million on wine every month, and he he's bulletproof at this point. He's Johnny Depp. So I'm thinking Iron Man is bulletproof. Iron Man. Bulletproof. Fuck you guys. Everyone's
That was
checked out.
fucking
Everyone's
terrible.
so tired.
That was fucking terrible. Anyway, we're gonna watch that shit, and we're gonna talk about it a lot next week. We might even just only talk about Avengers
That
next
might
week.
be a thing.
Because God knows nothing interesting is gonna happen in the world of fitness, right?
Nope.
I'm tired. We're done here.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and get all of your social medias, and let's call it a day.
I am at Mr. Kyle. I'm also tired. I am at Mr. Kyle Bogart on the most central Instagram account on the internet.
I'm at Cliff Bogart on an Instagram account.
I am at a Supersonic Man on an Instagram account and a Twitter account that's probably about to be a lot about Infinity War.
Oh, shit. And I'm Chase504 on Instagram and Twitter as well.
Oh, so by the way, real quick, before we sign off, everybody, important, if you do go to my Instagram account, you're going to see a lot of pictures with my friend Richard, who I spent all the time in New Orleans with over the course of this past weekend. So this is the same Richard Reininger of Why Does My Butt Itch? This is the same Richard Reininger of throwing up the first time he did a CrossFit workout. And this is the same Richard Reininger. What was the embarrassing thing? I can't remember.
It was the porn on the Apple TV.
Oh, that put the porn stills on the Apple TV screensaver by accidentally screen grabbing pornography. So if you want to know what that doofus looks like, go to at Mr. Kyle Bogart, and the last 6 or so pictures are me and him in New Orleans. So again, at Mr. Kyle Bogart. I'm not sure what his Instagram handle is. He is tagged in those photos, so make sure you reach out to him about all of those things.
And
so for longtime listeners,
I am at Armin Hoists. Thank you very much.
Wait, pause. Prize to the first person to follow him on Instagram, find a photo, and then comment, "Why does my butt itch?"
yes,
Ouch.
that's true. Armin will send you a pair of shoes.
I will not do that, but you'll get a shout out on the show.
You will. It's true.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening and watching along, and we'll catch you next week. Later.
Later.
Okay. I'm feeling a little